This tutorial was all about this adorable, bold, bright little unicorn. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make it, and then I'm also going to show you this lovely little rainbow topper to make a whole scene on top of your cake. My name is Abby, and let's get started. So we're going to build the body and the head of our unicorn first. As you can see, I've got two balls of white modelling paste here. One is ever so slightly larger than the other. You want them fairly similar size because you want the head to be a little bit oversized, which gives it that kind of cute look to it. So for the body, which is a slightly larger ball, I've rolled it into a nice soft ball, so it's got no cracks or creases in it. And I'm just going to roll it into a cone using my hands. I'm going to push that down on the counter so you get that lovely cone-shaped body like that. And I'm going to pop this on a little silver disc. This is just makes it easier for moving it around while you're modelling it. And I've got a cake pop stick here, which I'm going to insert straight down the centre of the body. I'm going to trim the top slightly. You just want enough so that the head will sit on top of that, so that it supports it. And then I've got the ball for the head here. We're going to make this quite a cone-shaped face. So you want quite a round bulbous bit at the top, and then it's going to be slightly longer and thinner at the front. So to do that, I'm just going to roll it in my hand so that you end up with this sort of cone shape. I'm going to flatten the end slightly so it's got like a nice nose. I'm just going to use my finger just to run along that thinner bit so that you start to get a curve where the nose is. So if you can see that, it's got like a little dent there. Okay. Just going to press it in at the sides as well to give it a bit more definition. Once you're happy with the shape of your head, we're going to attach it to the body. So I've got some edible glue here. I'm going to run a little bit of that just around the top of the body where that cake pop stick is. We're going to position the head on top. Now your nose should stick out further than your body, like so. Okay. I'm just going to angle it down so that nose is just pointing downwards slightly. Right. Now I'm going to add the arms, or the legs really, two sets of legs to our unicorn. So I'm going to bring this little pad in here, and I've already made one here, so I'm going to show you how to do each of those. So for the legs that are going to sit on the front, we're going to have two that are really straight and standing upright, and the other two are going to curve round the body. So this is the one that's going to stand at the front. So as you can see, that's going to sit on here like that. So I'm going to roll a ball and then roll my paste into a cone, like so. And I'm just going to press down slightly so you end up with like a little foot. So you can see this one's got the little foot, and then you can push that down on the counter to flatten the bottom of it off. And then with my one that I've already made, I'm going to cut it to size. Now the back piece I'm going to cut at an angle. So this one sits flush to the body, so it's got that nice straight angle. So I'm going to glue those in. A little bit of glue up the body, and they can just be pressed on. Like so. Lovely. For the other legs, they're going to curve around the body. So I've got this one here, and it's going to sit just next to the ones we've already added, but just curving around the side there. So again, a piece of paste. Nice round bit at the end to make the foot. And I'm going to curve this one. So obviously this one curves this way, this one's going to curve the other way. And I'm going to cut that at an angle. Thin that top piece out nicely. So that one will just sit there. So again, attach them to a model. So for the bottoms of these feet here, I'm going to add a little pink pad. So I've got some modelling paste in pale pink, which I've just given a bit of a knead to. I'm going to roll this out. I'm just going to use this little cutter here. It's a little round plunger cutter. And I'm going to cut 2 of these out. Lovely. And they're going to go on the ends of those feet. Just press those on like that. Lovely. And while I've got this pink here, I'm also going to cut out the piece for the nose. So I'm using a round metal cutter here, about the size of a 2p piece. I'm going to cut a circle out. And I'm going to pull this slightly so it's more oval shaped than it is round. And I'm going to pop this on the end of his nose. Just push it round. Tuck it under. Lovely. And then I'm going to use a couple of tools here. I'm going to use a ball tool and I'm going to use the very tiny end here. And I'm just going to press that into that pink piece we've just added to give him 2 little nostrils. And then this one here, I'm going to use this curved tool here just to create a little mouth. And I'm going to do that off to one side, just down here. Push that in. So you've just got that nice little curve. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to pop the eyes on now. So I'm going to bring these in. As you can see, I've got 2 little black rounds here and 2 little tiny white ones. To do these, I use 2 small cutters. So I use this one that we used for the feet a moment ago to make the black ones, and then I just pinch them a bit like we did for the nose, just to make them oval shapes. And then I use this tiny little round one here for the centres of the eyes. And they're going to go on the face just where it starts to bulge out slightly. So we want one there and one there. And I've angled these slightly so that they kind of face into the centre like so at an angle. Then the little white centres are going to go just at the top in the middle here. 1, 2. Lovely. Move that out of the way. And I've got some little tiny white draggies here, which I'm going to add to the eyes. And that's going to sit just below that little white piece that we've added. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to move on to making his horn and mane now. So for that I've got 3 different colours here. I've got a dark pink or a cerise pink. I've got a bright yellow and then I've got a bright blue. So I'm going to start with the cerise because we're going to make the horn from this. So I'm going to take a little piece of this. You don't need very much. And I'm going to roll it in my hand. And I'm going to roll this into a very long, thin, tapered sausage. And I'm going to leave this here for now, just in case I need a bit longer. I'm just going to start to twist this. Like so. Nope. Now that I know I've got enough, I can trim the end off. So I'm going to trim that off there. I'm going to twist this nice and tight. I'm just going to roll it on the counter a bit so that those pieces start to stick together. Just like so. And I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to trim the bottom of this flat. Lovely. And then this piece can be glued on the top of the head. We're going to put it just above where the eyes are. Too much glue. And that will sit just on the head there. Brilliant. Okay, now for the hair and the mane and the tail, I'm going to roll some sausages like we've just done, but we're going to curl them round. So you want 2 of each colour for the head and then 1 bigger piece for the tail. So roll these out. So we should end up with some nice wiggly pieces like this. Lovely. So I'm going to turn my unicorn round now. And I'm going to pop some glue on the top of the head and just down the back. I'm going to take these pieces. So I'm going to start with a pink one first. I'm going to just attach that to the front of the head and I'm curving it round at the same time. I'm going to add a yellow one on the opposite side. Again, twist the end so it's nice and curved. I'm going to pop a blue one on. And then let's go for a yellow one on this side. Another one of each on the back there. Lovely. Brilliant. Now for the tail, I'm going to take a bigger piece of each colour. and roll them into a sausage. Okay, and I'm going to put these all together and I'm going to twist them and wrap them round each other. So you end up with one big long twisty piece, like so. I'm just going to make sure I've got enough length on there. Lovely. So I'm going to use my craft knife and I'm going to cut the end off of this at an angle. Like that. Leave that to one side. And then this will sit nice and flush against the back of the body. Just like so. And then you can move the ones on the end. Lovely. So the final thing I'm going to do to my unicorn is I'm just going to give it some little eyelashes. So to do that, I've got an edible pen here. And I'm going to use the very fine nib. And I'm just going to put 3 little lines on each eye. Lovely. Make that one. Brilliant. And that's your little unicorn. So next up, I'm going to pop our unicorn onto a cake, and I'm also going to show you how to make this lovely little rainbow to go alongside it, which makes a brilliant set for a cake. So as you can see here, I have already got one of my rainbows cut out and ready made. That's because it will need overnight to dry. I'm going to show you how to make it here, and I'm going to use the dry one on the cake for now. As you can see, I've got lots of little sausages of coloured modelling paste. You can use whichever colours you like. I've used a nice variety here. And I've got lots of different lengths. I mean, I've tried to keep the bigger ones the same. Obviously, the longer one that goes around the edge of your rainbow needs to be the longest. This one here I've cut quite short because you don't need as much of it. So all I've done is roll those into sausages, and what I'm going to do is just gather them up and I'm going to start to curve them. Like so. And while they're there, I'm going to cut them. I'm going to try and trim this off. You might find it easier using a larger knife, like a kitchen knife, just so you can cut them all in one nice long strip. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue. I'm just going to separate them out slightly, and what I'll do is I will glue just between each one of those colours so the next one will stick to it. Okay, lovely. So what you're going to do now is leave that to dry overnight so that tomorrow you can work on it and you can stand it up nice and neatly on your cake. So I'm going to move that one over, and I've got my dry one here, as you can see. I'm just going to lay that on there for a moment. And I've also got some little white balls here. These are just balls of modelling paste which I rolled out. I'm going to use those to make clouds in just a moment. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to run a bit of glue just along the bottom here. If your cake has got to travel particularly far, you may wish to royal ice this onto your cake. I'm going to bring my cake in actually, and I'm going to sit it behind my unicorn, but just so that it pokes out one side. And if you've cut it nice and flat, you should be able to stand it up and it will keep its shape. Okay, and to support this, I'm just going to use some of those little balls, and so I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in front of my rainbow. And I'm going to start building up with some of these white balls, like so. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on top of those. And I'm going to put some smaller ones on top. Okay, and there you have it, a really simple rainbow topper just to go with your little model.